Can you believe it?
It's already
We're almost there.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing, folks. We've been talking about this for over a year now. I've been thinking about this for a really long time. And now we are just a couple of days away. We get through the weekend going into Monday, and we have the totality of a solar eclipse that moves over our area. Whether we have clouds or not, it is going to get dark across the area.
That much we know for sure.
We know that for sure.
Yeah, that's right. Let's just jump right into it. The first we want to show you here is the graphic that we've got behind us talking about the just kind of a percentage-wise case.
Yeah,
of,
this would be
visibility.
ideal right here. 100%. This is what we wish we were showing you. And if it were today, it would be that. But Caleb, what's it going to be?
Yeah, so and Matt and I have been talking a lot about just diving through the data and saying, okay, well, what do we really expect Monday to look like? And there are still a lot of unknowns, but here's what we can say with a little more certainty is that high clouds are almost certainly going to be out there. Thin high clouds are okay because you can still see the sun through that. Yes, that wouldn't be the most ideal, picturesque eclipse viewing experience, but you can get through those. So the other thing is that on top of that, really we are just focusing on how much low cloud coverage are we going to get. We do have moisture coming in from the south that morning. It should be pooling up enough to allow for some cloud cover to form in the lower levels. Can we get that to break up? Right now, well, this is where we've got our little indicator on the bar here. In terms of visibility, we're going to go with about 20 to 30%. So that would be reasonable visibility, about 20 to 30% for the area, because most of us, in addition to high clouds, are probably going to have to deal with a deck of low clouds of some sort. Now, that could break up a little bit. Some breaks are possible here and there. Certainly not for everyone. You might get lucky. Where you are, you might be fortunate enough to experience some of those breaks. So that's where we're putting our little cursor for now. There should at least be some spots that are A-okay. And again, 100% perfect may not happen this time through because aside from all of that, the high clouds are still going to be out there. But we've got more to talk about as Matt's going to show you a breakdown of the path of this particular guy as it races through our area, shadow moving at about 1,200 miles per hour.
Yeah, it's going to be really fast, and that's why it only lasts for a few minutes here. But when you're talking solar eclipses, over 4 minutes, that's a long time. So it's going to start off at about 1:27 p.m. That's when it's going to cross into the United States, and again, about 1,200 to 1,500 miles per hour. Here comes the shadow. Now, we've superimposed here of what we're expecting viewing to be like. And just because we're in the low chance Waco Temple Killeen doesn't mean that you're not going to see it. As Caleb stated, we will likely have some breaks from time to time within the cloud cover, either high or low. Now, whether that happens at your specific location, that's something we're just going to have to wait and see on. And we're not going to know that till, again, about an hour before and then going into totality. So that's something you'll want to tune in. We have our special that we're going to start airing online. That's going to be between noon and 1 o'clock, and then online and on air between 1 and 2 p.m. So plan to look at that. We have a very special show. We have a lot of people all over the area. And we are also going to have Chris Cassidy. He is an astronaut that's been commander of the International Space Station. He's going to be broadcasting live with us as well. It is going to be a fun time, no matter what the cloud cover is going to be like. But again, low chances here that we're going to see just a wonderful, brilliant sky. But breaks in the clouds are definitely a possibility. And again, we'll all be in totality at about 1:38 and 30 seconds. So that means all of Waco Temple Killeen. For Temple and Killeen, you will actually get in totality first. Waco, you will be about a minute later once this continues to make its way off toward the northeast. So in general, we have clouds that are going to be likely across the area. There will be a few breaks from time to time. Storm chances will start to increase as we head into the afternoon hours. But as of right now, it appears the storm chances will be post 3 p.m. going into the evening. Some of those could be strong to severe, especially along and east of I-35. And then we may do it again as we head into Tuesday with more storm chances on the way. So not just the eclipse, but we have chances for storms by late afternoon going on into Tuesday with this event. So your rain chances for the weekend are very low. So folks coming into town, I think you're going to have an enjoyable time here along with the residents. 0% for Saturday. We'll have partly to mostly cloudy skies, a 20% chance of an isolated shower early on Sunday, and then Mother Nature's probably going to tease us here. We're probably going to clear out a little bit Sunday afternoon. You're going to see the sun go, oh my, we're going to have wonderful weather. but unfortunately the low clouds are going to start to move back in as we head through the overnight hours Sunday night into Monday morning. Very unfortunate that that's happening. If we could have pushed this storm system back 12 hours, that would have been amazing. But as of right now, current timing, and pretty much every model says it, so I really don't think much is going to change between now and then. We can keep our fingers crossed, though. Chances for thunderstorms by Monday afternoon, going into Tuesday and early Wednesday as well. As far as your severe weather risk looks like, well, it does appear that we will have the potential for some severe weather. Now, it won't be during the eclipse, but it'll be right after, as we go into mid to late afternoon Monday, going into Tuesday. I don't think it will be continuous. We're likely looking at late Monday afternoon, Monday evening, and then again by Tuesday afternoon. So not a continuous severe weather threat, but I think all of Central Texas at least has an isolated impact. We may have a little bit more, especially from Waco to the northeast as you head up through Dallas-Fort Worth and into northeast Texas. So we will have that potential for some severe weather, but most of this should be post-eclipse. So that is not the main focus with this. Let's take a look at our future track showing that things will be pretty quiet out there. We will have clouds to start off our Saturday, and then we'll start to clear out. Sunday, we may even have a few showers in the morning hours. This is stopping here at about 5 o'clock in the morning, and then the clouds start to push on out as we head to the afternoon. Again, if we could just have this on Monday, that would be great. But unfortunately, here come your low clouds. But what I want to point out with this on Monday, yes, you have the clouds moving in, but you also have breaks every once in a while in these clouds. So even though we're forecasting a mostly cloudy sky, I do think from time to time, Caleb, we will have some of those clouds break out. If that happens where you are, you may get to see some of this event. So that's what we're really tracking right now.
We were mentioning that at the top of this little live stream, is that we anticipate some breaks to happen, and at this stage, to tell you exactly it's going to happen in your backyard would be impossible. Just know that it might happen where you are. The odds are not necessarily stacked in your favor for that. We were saying about 30% of you guys in the viewing area would maybe, get some of those breaks. But again,
Caleb, I want it in my backyard, by the way.
Yeah, well, you have to put your order in sooner than that, unfortunately.
I will do that.
Also, we do love that we're able to take your questions, and if you've got some, send them our way. Dale wants to know, what time will this be over Killeen? Let me get you some exact times for you, because science is great. Totality in Killeen is going to begin at 1:36 and 16 seconds. You guys will get it in Killeen for about 4 minutes and 18 seconds. And Totality for you guys are going to end at 1:40 and 34 seconds. Keep in mind the Totality here, that is the 4-minute span where we're completely under the shadow, the umbra of the moon. Before and after, we still get the partial eclipse, so things are going to seem a little dimmer outside. The light will seem maybe a little more filtered as this shadow gets closer, the partial shadow. And of course, if you have the proper eyeglasses and the proper eyewear, you can see the moon working over the sun and turning it into a crescent. And Matt has this graphic pulled up here, again, kind of talking about where we're expecting those lower odds to find some, decent viewing. Not impossible. Some breaks in the low clouds are expected. If you want to find the happy medium, if we can say there's going to be a happy medium for this event, for maybe some breaks in low and high clouds, it would be in the area that Matt has circled up here. That's on our northwestern sort of fringe. So we're talking, say, Clifton to northwest, Hillsborough to northwest. This would include Hamilton, parts of Bosque County.
Wishful thinking.
Yes. And to say, again, to be overly specific at this stage would still be very, very difficult. But we are going to keep our fingers crossed, and we'd love for that to be in your backyard, too.
All right, Caleb, let's get nerdy here for a second.
Sure.
So the models have no idea an eclipse is going to happen. We're forecasting thunderstorms for late in the day.
Right.
Sun, heat energy can affect clouds, especially if they're convective clouds, cumulus clouds that form. If you know anything about weather, then you know what we're talking about. If you don't, stratus clouds just kind of form. But cumulus clouds need heat energy to get going.
Sure.
So the models have no idea that the eclipse is coming. We're going to lose heat energy starting midway through the eclipse, going to midway after totality. So that's going to be about an hour and a half. This is something we've been discussing. Is that going to change our cloud cover? And that's
Right.
what we're trying to really figure out here.
We have history can tell us what will happen when the eclipses move over cumulus clouds. I was watching back in 2017 when this was actively happening in the Great North American eclipse, and watching the shadow of the eclipse move over the United States. It actually passed over some areas of cumulus clouds in the Great Plains. Those clouds disappeared after this passed over because the shadow prevented the heating energy necessary for those clouds to sustain themselves. It could be a similar scenario for us. When we talk about those low clouds like Matt was mentioning, are they just a deck of stratus, the gloomy blankety
Yeah,
type?
we don't want that.
Or is it something that's more patchy in nature, like cumulus? Those can be snuffed out. They might not be, but they can be snuffed out if you get a shadow like an eclipse passing over. And that will not only do that, Matt, but what does that mean for our thunderstorm chances later? Because this eclipse could drop our surface temperatures by several degrees.
Sometimes 5 to 10 degrees once you're in totality's pass. That can happen. So if we drop the temperature for a little bit, heat is energy. We need energy to get the thunderstorms going. Are the models trying to say, okay, we have this energy and this is when it's going to get going 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the afternoon? Well, they're not anticipating that we're going to lose heat energy early in the afternoon for about an hour and a half. So that could affect when thunderstorms develop as well. So again, there's a lot of science that goes into this and energy and how this is going to affect. And we kind of know the answer, but it's going to be interesting to kind of study that aspect of a solar eclipse. We don't get to do this. Will be my first time ever getting to do this. So it's going to be interesting to see if that affects our thunderstorm chances going into the evening hours on Monday, because it might just a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, right now, some of the models are initiating thunderstorms based on the fact that we would have a temp of 78 with over a dew point of 68. Well, what if your temperature is 72 or 71? And we're not going to get into skew T's here, but if you were to look at that and see what that would do to your traced parcel, you know, you're talking about substantially less instability in the atmosphere. So lots of monkey wrenches can be thrown into this. It is a complex scenario, certainly. And we're going to do our best to break it down over the next 72 hours.
During the eclipse, Caleb is going to be in studio. We said we have to have a Met in studio just in case there's weather that day. And guess what? There's probably going to be weather that day. So when we're doing our special, again, our special starts at noon online, just like what you're watching right now, on Facebook and YouTube and on KXXV.com and KRHD. We are going to have that going from noon to 1. And then from 1 to 2, it'll be online and on air for our special coverage with that. And we'll go continuous coverage from 125 to 150 once we're getting toward totality. So we're going to have Caleb here. He's going to be looking at where the cloud cover is going to be. We're going to have the visible satellite up right here, right here, right here, right here. So we're going to be able to tell you moments before, hopefully, where the best viewing is going to be, and hopefully that's where you reside. And hopefully that's where we're going to be. And we're going to have people all over the place, from Hillsboro to Lampasas. Josh is going to be in Killeen at Central Texas College there. It is going to be a fantastic event. Regardless of the cloud cover, we're going to provide you with a good event here. And we are also going to do it over the air, again, between 1 and 2 o'clock on 25 and 15 KRHD down in the Brazos Valley. Now, in the Brazos Valley, you're not in totality for this. You're going to have about 97% of the sun for Bryan College Station. It looks like that totality really gets going here around Cameron. So you'll have about a minute's worth here. But as you head down toward Rockdale, you're probably not going to have it. And again, Bryan College Station is just partial. And there is a huge difference between totality and just missing totality. 99% of the sun covered, you still can't look at it with your naked eye. 100% of the sun covered, you can. So you're going to have that 4 minutes to hopefully see the aurora around it. But again, if the clouds are really thick at your location, that may not happen. But some breaks in the clouds will be possible, Caleb.
Yeah, and you were mentioning places like, you know, the periphery. We were talking about Cameron, really where you'd have to go to find the totality, especially if you're watching in some communities that are on the fringe of totality, say Cameron, or as you work your way north from there to, let's see, what else do we have? Bremond, even north from there, we got Limestone County, Freestone County, places near, let's see, basically the southern tip of Limestone County. All these places, in fact, that is on the map behind me here. When we're talking about the fringe, you want to make sure that you are getting into the totality as far as possible, because the west side of Cameron, let's just talk about the town for a moment. The west side of Cameron will have 50 seconds of totality. The east side, 20 seconds.
It's that big a difference.
I mean, because what you're talking about is you are on the fringe of this circle, ladies and gentlemen. So you want to be deep into the circle as possible. And if you are on the fringe, seconds will matter. So even being on a side of town, if you're talking places like Cameron or Teague or Bremont, these are going to be places where it's going to be pretty close. You want to make sure you're in totality as much as possible. And just as a reminder, we are taking all questions. Don't see any yet, but if you guys type those down there in your Facebook, or maybe you're watching on YouTube right now, those are going to be able to make it to us, and we'll answer those as best we can.
Yeah, but again, we're really doing some hoping here. There's going to be some wishing and some praying going along that we can get this to do what we want it to do. But again, in general, what we're saying here, we're going to have mostly cloudy skies. I think that's unavoidable. However, within a mostly cloudy sky, you get breaks in the cloud cover. This happened actually a week ago where the model said we were going to have a lot of cloud cover throughout the day, but the sun did come out, and lo and behold, it was between 1 and 2 p.m. too. If that can happen for us on Monday, that would be wonderful. So not all is going to be lost with this forecast, but the odds are it will be cloudy for most of us. But again, these are probabilities. It doesn't mean that breaks can't develop here and there across central Texas. So we're not saying you won't be able to see it. It's just the odds are lower that you'll be able to take it in all its beauty, especially from beginning to end, and especially totality around Waco Temple Queen, 4 minutes plus, and add a few seconds. So maybe over your house or wherever you're going to be, miraculously for 30 or 40 seconds, the clouds will break and you'll be able to see it right there. And that's really how close it could be. We could be talking a mile down the road. You're not as clear as a mile down the road here. So we'll just have to wait and see on that. But is it going to be beautiful weather like we saw the past 2 days? Is it going to be like today where you can clearly see the sun? No, that's not going to happen. But we cannot rule out breaks in the clouds. And regardless if it's cloudy in your area or not, if you see it, it will get really dark. And the cloudier it is, Caleb, the darker it will be. So it looks like evening when you are in totality. Sunrise or sunset is 360 degrees on every horizon when you're in totality. But if you're cloudy, it may look like nighttime almost.
Yeah, I mean, like we were saying, the one thing we can guarantee, visibility, eclipse or not, it's going to be dark. That part is certain. If you're underneath this shadow.
With animal behavior.
It'll be dark.
It'll be interesting to see that. It'll be interesting to see if the street lights come on. So there are things we can still see even if it's mostly cloudy in your area.
True, and it's going to be a surreal experience regardless. Getting something like that in the middle of the day is not something we're going to experience maybe for a lifetime for some of us. It'll be a long, long time till Texas has another opportunity like that. Still getting some questions from y'all. Catherine would like to know what time it's going to start. Catherine, if you could give us your specific location, we can give you those answers. But let me just give you our main 3 cities. Killeen, like we mentioned, totality starts at 1:36 and 17 seconds. You'll actually start to see the partial shadow start to move over the sun as early as 12:18. But totality for Killeen at 1:36. Temple, your totality begins at 1:37. And for Waco, it's going to be at 1:38. That's downtown. Downtown Waco, 1:38 and 2 seconds. Whereas Matt's house, a little farther to the southwest, you get it about 12 seconds sooner. So 1:37. So
I'll have it 12 seconds before Caleb. All right.
Yeah, just about, again, because this is, it's nice to have a duration of 4 minutes, but the shadow itself is moving quickly. So all it takes is just 13 seconds for it to basically cross town, which is really, really neat to think about. So that's what I've got on my end. We're going to bring Matt back to the desk and sort of wrap things up here. And again, if you guys have got some other things you want to lob our way, we are all ears. Let you guys know.
You like the t-shirts?
Oh, these are great. Shout out to Emily.
Yeah.
Thanks for the swag. Those are good.
We did. So we'll be wearing these. Again, we will have Chris Cassidy with us, and this guy has done more in his lifetime than Caleb and I will do in 5 lifetimes.
Right.
He's been a Navy SEAL. He's been to space a couple of times. He was the commander of the space station. He was the head astronaut at NASA. And we get to have all his expertise live along with us. That is going to be amazing with that. And we're also going to have different packages from around the community. Again, we're going to have Hillsboro, we're going to have Waco, Temple, Killeen covered. We're going to have Lampasas covered. We're going to have so many places in Central Texas covered with this event because, again, it's a big deal. This is a once-in-a-lifetime event for Central Texas.
Right.
It's going to be hundreds of years before this even comes close to happening here. Now, in 2045, on August 12th, 2045, if you miss this one, August 12th, 2045 in Oklahoma, Tulsa will be one of the centers, and that will be, I think, about 5 minutes. I think that's going to be one of those where it's going to be an exceptional view once again. So August of 2025, go ahead and start booking your rooms up in Oklahoma.
That's right. 21 years from now.
Yes. So I'll be in my 60s. I'll be retired. I'll be handing it over to Caleb by then.
Just real quick, I actually do want to know where that one's going to be headed. I think you're right about, so Tulsa. It's going to basically go through California. If you can picture this, California passed through the Rockies, through Salt Lake, go through Colorado, then starts taking a southward dip down to Tulsa, Little Rock, Arkansas, and then finishing off in Florida. Panhandle first, and then mainland
But that's going to be a summertime one. Therefore, climatology says you're going to have a lot of sunshine across the U.S.
Yes.
So Oklahoma is probably going to be a great place. So unfortunately, this one's happening in April for us. If this were August, it'd be hot.
Yeah.
But man, we'd have great visibility.
We would not be having any worries. You just have water bottles to keep yourselves cool. But yeah, here we are in April, and that is the case. Matt, we've got a question. You've been looking at the probably the national stuff more than I have. Can you help answer Kathy's question about how far north would we need to drive to find clear skies?
Oh, if you can get to Maine, that'd probably be where you're going to find the best viewing. Maybe southern Illinois, northeastern Missouri. Yeah, a long, long way. Unfortunately, a lot of the cloud cover is going to be right along Totality.
Right.
And that's just, it's April. And April is an active time for clouds, showers, and thunderstorms. It's springtime. So, yeah, this is happening at a time of year where that's just going to be the case. So I'm hearing northeast of Niagara Falls is going to have the best view for this.
That's what I've heard.
So if you can get there real quick, more power to you. But most people can't. And I know a lot of people are coming into town with this. And if you're coming into town, hey, thanks for being here. We're going to try to give you the best experience we can give you. And hopefully, again, there'll be some breaks in the clouds from time to time. We're not saying you're not going to see it. We're saying the probability is that it's going to be more on the cloudy side and that we're going to have more obscurity. But it doesn't mean that it won't break from time to time during the eclipse and hopefully where you are in that 4 minutes of totality.
Gosh, when you think about it, it all comes down to 4 minutes. That's it. We're banking on 4 minutes
here. If our computer models could forecast 4 minutes, that would be awesome. They cannot do that. There is a limit to what, that's why we're giving you probabilities that the probability is it's going to be cloudy, and that's a pretty high probability, but there's still a chance that there'll be breaks in those clouds. So again, we're not saying you're not going to see it. It's just going to be harder to see it from time to time. If those clouds will break up just in time, if what we were talking about earlier, that heating, if they're more cumulus low-level clouds and we start losing the heating, those will fall apart. So there are things that could happen to make this good.
We also want to, Juan has a question about the chance of this changing. You've talked a lot about this, Matt, about the forecasts and how they change.
Forecasts can always change. Unfortunately, with the way we've trended, if the forecast changes for Monday, I think it will be worse than better. So we really don't want it to change much right now because the odds of it going better are much lower than it going worse because the storm system speeds up. We get thunderstorms during the eclipse and that would be horrible. So as of right now, we really don't want it to change too much. The clouds are going to move in regardless. We can't really change that. I just don't see that happening.
Well, the other thing is, and Hannah has a good question too about the weather conditions after the eclipse. Some people are camping, some people are throwing barbecues in their backyard, and the weather could be something we do have to turn to right after the eclipse.
And that's why Caleb will be here.
That's right.
He will be in studio. Josh and I will be out and about, but we will get in if we have to, and we will cover severe weather if we have to. I mean, what a day. You have an eclipse, and then you might have severe weather that evening. So it could be a really long day.
Yeah, I mean, for those of you who do have those outdoor activities, just stay in touch with the weather. You know, once the eclipse is over and you're going about your activities, keep an eye on the sky, keep it tuned to the social media resources of 25 and 15, and we'll let you know because, like you were saying, we then jump into perhaps some storm coverage later on that afternoon and evening. So don't get caught unawares. A lot of these are outdoor plans, of course. So have maybe a place to go, know where your shelter is nearby, and hopefully you won't even have to use that. But when we're talking about the possibility of severe storms that day, it's something you do want to have in the back of your mind.
Correct. Well, thank you all for watching. We're going to get ready for the 5 o'clock newscast here. Of course, we're going to continue to update things as we get closer to the event. Caleb will be forecasting this weekend. I'm sure we will be talking from time to time as well. So again, it's going to happen no matter if it's cloudy or not. If it's cloudy, it just gets really dark where you are. You may not be able to see it in the sky, but it's at least going to happen. And it's going to be an interesting experience, even if it is totally cloudy. Or if you happen to be in a place where it breaks, you'll get the darkness and you'll get to see it. So again, a few breaks will be possible in the cloud cover, but the probabilities say that it'll be more toward the mostly cloudy sky than anything else.
That's right. Well, we're going to get ready for the 5 o'clock news here. And if you want a recap of all that, Matt will have that for you at 5 o'clock. And stay tuned with us this weekend as well, because like I said, I'll be doing the best to cover all angles of that on Saturday and Sunday. And then Monday, we're taking the digital airwaves at 12. And then our special starts at 1 o'clock, and we surely hope you'll join us for that.
See y'all then.